Good evening, Eagles Nation. I hope you're all having a wonderful night filled with good health, peace, and plenty of great news. The preseason is heating up, the excitement surrounding the Philadelphia Eagles keeps growing stronger, and tonight we have important updates that every member of the green and white family needs to hear. So make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already part of our Eagles community, and turn on notifications so you never miss any breaking news, roster updates, training camp coverage, or exclusive Philadelphia Eagles content. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the biggest headlines and the most important Philadelphia Eagles news of the night. Go Birds! The Eagles have officially made another move at wide receiver, and it comes at a time when this roster truly needed extra depth. Philadelphia has signed wide receiver Brandon Hayes, bringing back a player who already has experience with the organization and knows what this coaching staff expects. Even though this might not be the biggest headline of training camp, it tells us exactly where the Eagles currently stand as they continue preparing for the season, and there are several important reasons why this signing deserves the attention of every Eagles fan. Hayes is not a completely new face. If his name sounds familiar, that's because he already spent time with Philadelphia earlier this year. After playing college football at Southeastern Louisiana, he attended the Eagles' rookie minicamp on an invitation rather than arriving as an undrafted free agent signing. His performance impressed the coaching staff enough for the Eagles to officially sign him on May 27th. However, that opportunity was short-lived as the team released him on June 5th. Now, with injuries beginning to pile up during training camp, Philadelphia has decided to bring him back. Looking at Hayes' profile, it's easy to understand why the Eagles wanted another look. Standing at 6'2" and weighing around 205 pounds, he brings size, athleticism, and versatility. During his college career, he became one of the best kick returners in the Southland Conference, earning first-team All-Southland honors for the second consecutive season as a return specialist. His explosiveness made him one of the most dangerous players at the FCS level. The numbers back that up. Hayes was one of only 5 FCS players to return multiple kickoffs for touchdowns during the previous season, accomplishing that feat in consecutive games. His 30.7-yard kickoff return average ranked third across all of FCS. Beyond his special teams production, he also contributed offensively with 227 receiving yards, 107 rushing yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns during the 2025 season. The year before, he averaged 26. 7 yards per kickoff return and scored 4 total touchdowns, including another kickoff return touchdown. What immediately stands out is that Hayes isn't simply a receiver who catches passes. He can contribute in multiple phases of the game. He has experience running the football, working in space, returning kicks, and stretching the field with his speed. For a coaching staff trying to get through training camp while protecting starters and evaluating depth, that kind of versatility becomes extremely valuable. The timing of this move also speaks volumes. Philadelphia isn't adding another receiver just for competition. The current injury situation at the position has forced the front office to react. Devonta Smith has missed consecutive practices because of a hamstring injury. My Lemon has also been dealing with a hamstring issue after first suffering the injury during the spring before aggravating it again during training camp. That's particularly concerning because every missed practice is valuable for a rookie trying to adjust to the NFL. The learning curve is already incredibly steep, and losing practice time only makes that adjustment more difficult. Britton Covey is another player dealing with an injury. He exited practice and was unable to return, and he also missed the following workout. With multiple receivers unavailable, the Eagles suddenly found themselves short on healthy bodies at one of the most demanding positions during camp. That's where Brandon Hayes fits into the picture. Because he already spent time with Philadelphia earlier this offseason, he isn't walking into a completely unfamiliar environment. He has previous exposure to the system, understands many of the expectations, and can immediately help fill practice reps while the injured receivers continue their recovery. But that's only part of what has Eagles fans talking. Another major storyline involves one of the greatest offensive players in franchise history. Zach Ertz has officially been cleared for all football activities following the ACL injury that ended his previous season. According to the latest update, he wants to play during the 2026 season and is expected to be ready to sign with the team around the middle of August. The recovery itself is remarkable considering how serious the injury was. Before suffering that setback, Ertz was still producing at an extremely high level. Across the 2024 and 2025 seasons, he totaled 116 receptions, more than 1,000 receiving yards, and 11 touchdowns. One of his final standout performances came against Denver, where he recorded 10 catches for 106 yards before later suffering the devastating knee injury against Minnesota. Seeing him healthy again naturally raises one huge question for Eagles fans. Should Howie Roseman seriously consider bringing Zach Ertz back to Philadelphia? It's a fascinating conversation because Ertz isn't simply another available veteran. He's one of the greatest tight ends this franchise has ever seen. A Super Bowl champion, a 3-time Pro Bowler, and someone whose place in Eagles history is already secure. Even more interesting, he's incredibly close to another historic milestone. He needs only 11 more receptions to become the all-time leader in catches in Philadelphia Eagles franchise history, passing Harold Carmichael. That possibility alone adds another emotional layer to this discussion. At the same time, there are football reasons why some people believe a reunion could make sense. The Eagles currently have Dallas Goedert, Johnny Munt, Eli Stowers, and Cam Latu in the tight end room. While that group has talent, depth can quickly become an issue if injuries occur, especially considering how frequently this offense utilizes the tight end position. Adding a proven veteran with elite experience would not only provide another reliable target, but also add leadership to an offense that features several younger players and newcomers. With the receiver position currently dealing with injuries, the possibility of adding another experienced pass catcher naturally becomes even more intriguing. So as training camp continues, two very different stories are beginning to develop at the same time. One focuses on immediate roster depth with the return of Brandon Hayes, while the other centers around the possibility of one of the greatest Eagles players ever making an emotional return to Philadelphia. What do you think, Eagles fans? Should Howie Roseman bring Zach Ertz back for one more run? Or do you believe the Eagles should move forward with the current group at tight end? Vic Fangio also gave everyone another reminder of exactly why so many people respect him around the league. His personality hasn't changed after all these years. He's direct, honest, and completely unfazed by outside opinions. When he spoke about what has been happening during training camp, he didn't try to sugarcoat anything. In fact, he openly admitted that the Eagles' defense has been getting the better of the offense, and according to him, it hasn't even been particularly close. Fangio explained that the defense had the upper hand during Tuesday's practice by a long shot, but he immediately followed that by saying this has basically been the story ever since he became the Eagles' defensive coordinator. From his perspective, there is nothing unusual happening. This is exactly what he has seen throughout training camp over the last 2 years. That statement could easily worry fans if it were taken out of context, but Fangio made it clear that he wouldn't be concerned if he were offensive coordinator Sean Mannion. In fact, he specifically said he would not be worried about what has happened so far because training camp is designed for learning, correcting mistakes, and building chemistry before the regular season begins. When you think about it, his explanation makes perfect sense. Philadelphia's defense is filled with players who already understand the system. Most of the core defenders have spent significant time working under Fangio's scheme, giving them a major advantage during practices. Meanwhile, the offense is still adjusting to Sean Mannion's system, installing new concepts, refining timing, and working through the natural growing pains that come with change. Because of that difference in continuity, Fangio believes it is completely normal for the defense to look further ahead than the offense at this stage of camp. Saquon Barkley also offered his perspective after speaking with reporters. He acknowledged that during the first couple of weeks of camp, the defense had indeed won most of the battles. However, he also felt the offense had started responding and believed the overall score between the two units was now closer to 2 victories for the defense and 1 for the offense. He even joked about the competition continuing inside the locker room as players debated which side had actually been better. Still, Fangio kept bringing the conversation back to one important point. This isn't about keeping score. These practices are about preparing the football team for the season, not declaring a winner every afternoon. His confidence suggested he sees exactly what he wants from his defense, while understanding that offensive progress simply takes time. Fangio also surprised many people by specifically mentioning linebacker Chance Campbell. When reporters eventually begin making their 53-man roster predictions, Fangio advised them not to overlook Campbell. That comment immediately grabs attention because Philadelphia already has significant depth at linebacker. The position includes Zach Bond, Jihad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and Smail Mondon Jr., making competition extremely difficult. Even so, Fangio clearly believes Chance Campbell has earned serious consideration. This praise wasn't random. According to comments referenced during camp, several Eagles players had already spoken highly of Campbell while he was on the practice squad last season. Internally, many teammates believed he had the ability to contribute if given the opportunity. Now, Fangio himself has publicly reinforced that belief. Another interesting detail involved possible defensive adjustments this season. Fangio revealed that the Eagles could use more base defensive packages, depending on how opposing offenses decide to attack them. That flexibility could allow Philadelphia to place even more talent on the field simultaneously. One example discussed involved heavier 5-man defensive fronts featuring players like Jalix Hunt, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Moro Ojomo, and Jonathan Greenard together along the line. If offenses force those types of adjustments, Fangio appears completely comfortable adapting his personnel accordingly. Versatility remains another major focus for the coaching staff, and one player receiving additional praise is Michael Carter. Fangio once again highlighted Carter's ability to transition from playing primarily as a slot cornerback into a larger safety role. That positional flexibility could become extremely valuable throughout a long NFL season, especially when injuries inevitably occur. Meanwhile,